Making money from playing games is very much a possibility, and in this video I'll show you 10 ways that you can make money from gaming with realistic expectations and without lying to you like the other videos on this platform. Stick to the end and I promise you that you will have all the information you need. The first way you can make money in gaming is with gold farming. In gold farming you try to make as much money as you can in any popular multiplayer game that has free trade enabled. There are two ways to farm gold: by manually playing the game or by creating a bot farm that automates the process. Playing the game is the more fun option and it just requires good game knowledge and maybe sometimes skill depending on the game. Creating a bot farm requires some programming knowledge and you don't actively play the game, which is less fun. Creating a bot farm is forbidden in every game and it is a way more risky way to farm gold. The biggest issue with gold farming is that it's not allowed in most games. This means you're risking your main account or several other accounts where you spend hundreds if not thousands of hours. The second issue is that it doesn't pay well. If you take a look at old school RuneScape for example, the best money maker you can do solo is worth $3 an hour. It relies on RNG and it requires very high skill in the game. The reason why the pay is so low even for endgame content is because you have other players who live under a failing economy where gold farming is actually their job, and RuneScape gold is worth more than their local currency. That's why a decent chunk of the old school RuneScape community are Venezuelan gold farmers. The reason games don't like gold farming is that it ruins the game's economy and it encourages the creation of bot farms, which floods the economy of the game even more and ruins the experience for actual players trying to engage with the game. Games that allow gold farming are not worth it because their economy is usually destroyed because of it. The illegality of gold farming in RuneScape is actually what drives the price up a little bit and makes this already flooded method less flooded. Moving on to the second method, we have the Steam market with two ways to make money from it. One is farming the item drops and the other is flipping items. When you play a game like Counter-Strike, you'll occasionally get a free skin or a free loot box which is worth a few cents. The problem with this method is that the drops are not worth a lot of money and they are very infrequent. You can maybe make 70 cents a week if you grind really hard and get very lucky. Sure, you can go to games that have more frequent drops, but those drops are worth even less because they flooded the market and they usually never sell because most players come to farm the game for those drops and very little of them, if any, actually want to buy those items. The other options is to flip items on the market, sometimes referred to as merching. You essentially buy skins or items on the market for cheap and sell them for more. The obvious problem is that it's very unreliable. You can buy an item, hold on to it, and it might lose value instead of making a profit for it. Also, you're not really playing the game in this method. Sure, you can play the games while you're waiting for someone to buy your items, but it's not worth it. You're essentially playing Wall Street with gun camos instead of stocks. The third method to make money from gaming are games which are actually designed around making money. They will let you exchange their in-game currency for real-life money or for crypto. You have games like Second Life where you can fish for a limited amount every day and earn very little money to the point where even botting the task is not worth it. The only way to make decent money in Second Life is to engage with e-roleplay or really degenerate stuff, so I don't recommend it. You can play games like Entropia Universe where a lander that was originally purchased for $1,000 is now worth $100,000 supposedly. And the in-game currency is way closer in value to $1. The issue with that game is that everything in the game degrades, which is why the economy is more stable. You need to inject money into the game to actually play it and farm monsters for a rare drop. For me, this means it's just an abstracted slot machine where you insert money and hope that you get a lucky drop that will be worth more than you put in. The other games are crypto games which exist in a very shady market where the monetary value is very speculative, and just like the Steam games that give frequent drops, the coin that they give you is useless because most if not all the players that play the game try to farm it for money. Many of those games are not even fun to play, and some of them use your computer to mine cryptocurrency that is actually worth something as opposed to their coin, which is useless. The fourth method is account selling and power leveling. Account selling is self-explanatory. You build up an account to a desired level and sell it for real-life money, and power leveling is where you train up someone else's account for money. The most glaring issue with that is that it's not allowed in most games and will usually result in bans for you and the accounts you train or sell. The second issue can be seen in games like League of Legends where it's only frowned upon and it seems like no action is being taken against it. It's not worth it financially. A lot of banned League players buy a level 30 account so they can jump back into the game and play ranked immediately since it's only accessible from level 30. Training up an account to that level from scratch would take you several days of playtime, and the account is only worth $1.8 at the end. Even if you decide to sell an account for $1.8, if you don't want to be potentially scammed, you would need to use a platform to facilitate this exchange, which take even more money from that already small amount you're making. The fifth way you can make money from gaming is to do quality assurance for games. I know it doesn't seem like it happens because so many games today release with too many bugs on launch day, but the gaming industry does have QA testers that play the game and try to find bugs. The biggest issue with this method is that it's an extremely flooded market and it's very hard to get into. It might even require credentials and experience as a QA tester. Unlike the other methods, it should pay really well if you become even a low-level employee, as long as you're not a freelancer or a contractor. The sixth way to make money from gaming is esports. Playing competitively at a high level to earn prize money from tournaments and cash from sponsors. The obvious downside to this method is that the money is only good at the highest levels, which require a lot of skill in the game and a lot of training. So much training that you might start to hate the game you're playing and defeat the whole purpose of having such a job that was supposed to be fun. The esports market is heavily subsidized by the games company or rich sponsors since it's not a profitable endeavor. This makes it a very unstable form of income. Even if you manage to become the top 1% player that actually makes money from their game, your game can one day become unpopular and you're back to square one. The seventh method includes carry services, account boosting, and coaching. This method requires you to be a really good player, maybe one step removed from being an actual esport competitor. The players that are bad enough to pay for this service will weigh you down, so you need to be really good to carry them. Even if you just boost their account rank alone through their account only, you still need to be a high enough rank that people are willing to pay for it. Coaching is no different, you need to have some pedigree, and it's usually filled with ex-esports players, top 1% ranked players, or large YouTubers that establish themselves in the niche. And speaking of YouTube, this is our segue to the eighth method, which is content creation. You can create YouTube videos and earn money from the ads playing on your videos, from channel memberships, and from sponsorships. That can also be accomplished through live streaming, but that would be a bit harder to find success in. In YouTube, you need to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours on your videos under a year, which sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot for a channel that makes a decent amount of money. The biggest obstacle in this method is that gaming is a very saturated market where even if you have a lot of skills in the game, you'll need good showmanship, decent equipment to record your gameplay or voiceover, and some editing skills. You'll need to come up with good video ideas that would help you stand out and establish yourself in this very saturated niche where the video you plan on uploading was probably uploaded to this platform 1,000 times already. Streaming is even harder because discovery is non-existent there, and you will probably have single-digit amount of viewers for your first year of streaming if you don't have any connections. The ninth method to make money from gaming is third-party experiences and third-party content. This method includes game servers for games like Minecraft, Garry's Mod, etc., where a player will buy membership or microtransactions in the experience you created. You can also be a programmer or a builder for such servers if you don't want to incur the costs or risk of hosting a server. You can also create maps and experiences for games that actually facilitate it, like Fortnite and Roblox. This can be done without programming, but most worthwhile experiences in those games require coding skills. Like almost every entry in this list, the biggest drawback to this method is that there's a lot of competition and it's a flooded market. The second drawback is that it requires creative and coding skills outside of the game to succeed. And if you already have these skills, you might as well try the last method, which is game development. If you have those skills and want to make money from gaming, you can create your own game with your own vision, which is easier said than done. Even if you don't have those skills, you have a ton of coding, pixel art, and 3D modeling videos to teach you all you need to create your own game. In the current gaming market, it seems that only quadruple A titles like GTA or non-AAA titles like Palworld can find success. So you might have a decent shot if you have a good idea and can follow through with it. Today's game engines are pretty good and a good chunk of them are free to use. Some of them can even create pretty good games without a single line of code. The biggest drawback to this method is that it will take a lot of time to pick up game development even if you're already a programmer. If you have coding skills, it's way better to get a stable salaried position that will pay you way more money without having upkeep costs like servers if you create a multiplayer title. If you stuck around in this video until now, you'll notice that every method in this list is really flooded and only the top 1% actually make money from it. Apparently making money from gaming is a very sought after position that creates an endless amount of supply but doesn't have that much of demand. As someone who once made money from content creation around gaming on YouTube, I would never recommend it as a job to anyone because it's not reliable. It will also kill your enjoyment from gaming after a while. The truth is that it's probably better to put the time into getting a well-paying skill like software development, which in the absolute lowest end would net you $80,000 a year in the US easily. It's better to make good money and keep gaming as a hobby that you just enjoy, and it's exactly how I take this YouTube channel. A creative outlet where I get to speak about my hobby and not relying on it for sustenance, and my advice is that you do the same.